Alright guys, we are almost finished. Right now we're in lesson 5. So this time I wanted to talk about understanding the percent error. When we did this in class there was a lot of confusion, so I thought that this example might be a little bit more easy to understand. So when I'm doing archery, what is my aim? What am I trying to do? Well, I am trying to get the middle, right? I want to get the bullseye. So when I'm aiming for my target and I shoot, go pshh, I want to try to hit my 10, so I'm going to put an arrow there. Right, that's what I want. I want to get 10. But a lot of times, and let's just actually call that A, right? Let's just say that's A, my arrow A. But a lot of times, right, maybe I'm not holding my arrow properly, or there's wind, right, and it's not going to go sometimes directly to the middle. So sometimes I throw it and it goes, hiya, and it goes to 6. So obviously that's not what I wanted. That's too bad. That wasn't too bad, but, right, there was error. Right, it could have been me holding, right, the arrow or the wind, but there was error. And so my arrow, B, did not go to where I aimed. That's unfortunate. So what was my error? Well, the actual error is the distance from my aim to where I threw it. So the error here is going to be 4, right, because it's 10 minus 6. Right, so the distance from 10 to 6 is going to be 4 points. That's my error. I have an error of 4 points. Okay, so that's just my error itself. My error was 4 points. But that's not what it's asking me. It's going to ask me what was my percent error. So let's look at the percent error of arrow B. Right, what was the percent error? Okay, well, percent, another way of looking at percent is just part over the whole. So the question is, what is the part and what is the whole? Well, the part, hopefully, we understand, is going to be my error, which is 4. Right, so over here I'm just going to write the actual thing, right, it's the error. Right, so the part is my error, 4. And what's the whole? What's the total? My total was the 10 points. And what was that 10? What did I call it? Instead of calling it, right, there's a whole bunch of names that I could put here, but I actually like to put aim. Because that's what I'm aiming for, right? I was aiming for 10, but because of the error, it went over here, right? So that's what I wanted. I wanted to get 10, but there was an error of 4. So when I do the actual calculations, well, if you guys recall, if I have a fraction and I want to make it into a percent, all I have to do is multiply by 100. Because, right, if I had percent, well, let's do a mini lesson here. If I had something like 30% and I want to make that into a fraction, I would divide by 100, so that's 30 over 100. But instead, if I had a fraction, what would I do to go back? I only have to just multiply by 100 and get my 30%. Right? So if I have a fraction, I have to multiply. So again, here I have a fraction. So all I have to do is 4 over 10 times 100. So this is going to cancel. This is 10. So that means I had a 40% error. Right? So this error, or this arrow, right, I had a 40% error. Let's explore this doing another example. Let's just say, okay, my arrow goes psh, over here. Wow, that was pretty bad. Let's just call that arrow C. That was a pretty bad error. So what was my error? My error was pretty bad. It was 8 points. Can't really see that, can you? So 8 points. 8-point error. So, again, so for percent error, for C, what would I do? Okay, so the error over aim. So what was my error? My error was 8 points, right? 10 minus 2, right? So the distance is my error. My distance is my error, which was 8, out of my aim, which was 10. And then, so what do I do to that? I multiply that by 100. So that becomes 1, that becomes 10. So my error was 80%. And that makes sense because I'm a lot farther away. My error should be big. What if I completely missed? And went over here. So then, well, how many points is that? Well, that would be 0 points. What's the distance from 0 to 10? That would be 10. So then I would write 10, write the error, over aim. So what was my error? I got no points, so my error is 10 out of 10, so that's 100% error. Right? If I completely missed the target, that means I was 100% wrong. Well, how about if I actually did get the bullseye? What's my error? Well, my error, right, I start at 10 and then I draw another line at 10. What's the distance from 10 to 10? The distance would be 0 over 10, so that would be 0%. So that means if I hit the bullseye, I get a 0% error, which makes sense. So just think about it. So basically, percent error is equal to the error over your aim, right, whatever your target is, times 100. That's what you have to do. That's all you need to do.